This is Charles Dobbins, and I'd like to welcome my good friend Rennie Gabriel to the best multifamily podcast ever. Very unique name. No, I didn't steal that name. I gotta get around to I'll trademark that name sometime, Rennie. But eventually I'll get around to it. So how are you, buddy?
I'm terrific. You've already hit the record button, huh?
The moment I come on. So as a matter of fact, yeah, that's what. See, the person that edits all of my podcasts, they get to see all the fun stuff that happens behind the scenes. And somehow I think this is going to end up on a final show, all the back scene stuff that goes on. So I can't wait for myself. I can't wait for it myself. So it's always a crowd pleaser. Yes. So okay, let's back up now. Rennie, you and I met at one of my when I was speaking one time out in Southern California, and when you're in this business, you just know who the real dudes are and who've lived the life and who've been gone through the thick of it and the thin of it. And I knew you're the real deal, Rennie, and So why don't you let's talk about first off, tell me about the wealthonanyincome.com. What is that all about? What is that company? What's that business of yours?
That's all about my having a platform to educate people on how to become wealthy with the objective that they become philanthropic. 100% of the profits from that online division I donate to a charity because I don't need any more income, because the multifamily purchases that we've made provide all of the income I need, and my wife, we got plenty of money. And so, don't donate all that to charity.
Bravo, well played. Good for you, man. You did it right. And but one thing we're going to talk about on this topic is there was a time in your life when it didn't look like it was going to be that. Was it?
Yeah, not only did it not look like that. I mean, I looked at last year, we donated more money to charity than I used to earn in a whole year.
Oh my gosh, Mike, let me tell you, there were times when it was so bad. I looked at what I paid in taxes last year exceeded by 5 times what I made in my worst year. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's,
I couldn't. Gosh, okay, I can top that. My worst year, the taxes we paid was 10 times what I earned.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, but yeah, it definitely was not always that way. There was a time in my life we were 3 months behind on my house payment. The bank was going to close. I ran around collecting soda bottles and cans to use that refund money so I could buy groceries for the family.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and the thing is that what people don't seem to understand is my father was a commissioned life insurance salesman all his life. And I remember one time he put 3 kids through Boston College. And there was one time I was talking to him, and he and this was like years later. And just in passing, he said, well, I maxed out a couple of credit cards, paying for your tuition. And I said, you put our college tuition on credit cards? And he said, Charlie, you just do what you got to do. And let me tell you, I've lived that sometimes myself, and it's just, it's a tough way to do it. But if that's where you're focused, you have such faith in yourself, and you're in the hole, you got to get out of it.
Yeah, exactly. You do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And that's what I did to feed the family. I remember driving for an hour to some small town so that I could walk door to door and sell signs, open close signs to businesses to get the money to walk in the bank the day before we'd be penalized on the mortgage to make the payment in cash.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, you do whatever it takes.
It is. And now look at yourself. I'm listen, you got a tip of the cap, So that's fantastic.
Yeah, my wife and I were just talking about it. 20 years ago when we met, I was flat broke. I was 50, and it was my second divorce. And we were going to go to the movies. We had a pass to see the movie for free. And she wanted to get, I don't know, a burrito.
Because you probably got one of those senior citizens discounts. You faked it, didn't you?
Oh, are you kidding? I walk in the hardware store and say, do you have a senior discount? They say, yeah, 5%. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Yeah.
Why should they be entitled to it?
I'm old enough. I'm entitled now.
I'm 72. Yeah, look at me.
Oh my gosh, you look great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, when we got together, she wasn't sure she wanted to stay with me because she wanted to buy like a burrito at the mall, and I didn't have $3 to pay for her burrito.
Guys, that woman had dreams.
Oh yeah, she
She had a dream of you paying for a burrito.
Yeah. So yeah, that's when we met. I was 50. I just came off the second divorce. I'd had a business failure earlier. I mean, I'm flat broke, and I'm making like $5,000 a month, and saving 10% of that so I could start over in my life.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. You still had that. You still had the wherewithal to know that that's what you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, the concept has worked for 5,000 years, and you and I will be dust. It'll still be working.
Exactly. It's worked. It's like certain things. It's worked every time it's been tried.
Yeah.
Yep. Good for you. That's fantastic. So, okay. Well, let's go in the way back machine to when you were 50. And so what did you do? You hit rock bottom. And you're out there struggling. You're trying to figure out what the next step is. You probably already had a good idea of what the next step is.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen. We got people on this podcast at all different levels, all different stages, and let me tell you something. Right now, Rennie, you're talking directly to some of them who are in the exact same situation. So tell us how to get out of that situation.
Okay. Well, so I'm at least earning $5,000 a month. Okay. I'm setting aside $500 a month, and I'm buying some individual stocks based on the Dow Jones Industrials. I figured it's secure. And when the dot-com bubble burst, I didn't lose anything. I was at about even.
Okay.
And at that point, I'd saved up about $18,000 with my $500 a month. And my wife had a real estate partner who said, I want to buy this triplex. And I said, oh, that'd be great. I only have $18,000. My wife chipped in $18,000. And the realtor who found it chipped in $36,000 so we could make the down payment.
Okay.
So I had 25%.
And this is Southern California.
Southern California. Okay. It was a triplex. It was like $300-something thousand. We came up with the down payment that way. And it was probably around 2001. So it was a good time in the market.
Yeah.
And in the next 6 years, it grew. We were able to turn over the tenants. We did some remodeling.
Okay, so this wasn't a you didn't live in this house. This was a investment.
True, yeah, strictly to a triplex to invest.
Okay.
So we got new tenants. We increased the rents. We did some remodeling, and the market was growing. So we sold it 6 years later for about a $520,000 profit.
Okay. Well, bravo for you. Okay. Now, two things that I have to cite in here is it sounds as though you were able to successfully, systematically save $500 a month for 36 months, like 3 years.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. It's just systematic. You've got to set up like right now, every week, every Monday, I pay myself. And money comes out of my account, goes right in my Vanguard account. I just automatically comes right out of my account, goes right in. Forced savings, and that's my 401k. And I put max out because you know how I am, and I max out as much as I can, and that just is automatic. And that's what you did. You had you just had the personal, wherewithal to say, I've got to set this money aside. That's number one. And then number two, you got lucky. You got lucky with the timing of the buy and the sell. So
correct.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. Now, the systematic approach that I took is because I was doing business coaching at the time, every time I got a check from a client, didn't matter if it was $100 or $1,000, when I walked up to the ATM machine, got a $1,000 check, $100 went into the savings.
Because you can put it right in, transfer the money right over. Yep. Good for you.
So every single dollar that came in as revenue from my work 10% went into a separate savings account. And from that, I was buying the stock.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Okay, two things. What about your credit? How did your credit get dinged up with the divorce and the law business, and how'd you solve that problem?
Well, it's a great question. Yeah.
Pal, you're talking to the choir here, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Go right ahead.
My credit wasn't any good anymore.
Yeah.
And so, but my wife's credit was good, and the realtor's credit was good. So we used their credit and my contribution.
Yeah. Yeah.
But over time, you know, because I was paying all my bills, my credit card stuff or whatever came in on time. Now that things are kind of stabilized and I have an income, then my credit improved. I mean, my credit was as low as like 620. I mean, you know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. No.
But it's now at 803.
Wow. Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. So, and then how about buying of the stock? Now, you know, it's more than just socking the money away. It's also, you know, knowing which, you know, what to buy. And
yeah,
I mean, obviously, but you know, your background is in real estate. That's where you have made your money and you've done very well with it. Why were you choosing those particular stocks? Like, why didn't you just sock it away for the next real estate deal?
I'd read a book about America's best companies and the companies that pay dividends year in and year out for 10 years and have growing dividend streams, so on and so forth. And I thought, okay, I'm going to limit the stocks to whatever's on the Dow Jones Industrials. You got 30 stocks. Chances are they'll be in business down the road, and it's relatively secure, and it ought to grow at about 11% a year. Well, it didn't, but people who'd invested in .com companies saw their portfolios drop by 30 and 40%.
Wiped out.
Yeah.
Wiped out. Yeah.
So I think I was up maybe 1%. But the point is, at least it was relatively secure while I was going for a decent rate of return.
Right. And so how much did you have in General Motors?
This was before they had their problems. Yeah. It was probably, you know, a few $1,000s. It wasn't.
Okay. I was actually kind of joking because that book probably said that, you know, General Motors was one of the top 10, and then Obama comes along.
Yeah. Yeah, times do change, don't they?
Oh, they do. They certainly do. That book didn't age well now, did it? No. Okay, so you make the big windfall. You've got 3 partners. You know, was she your wife at the time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Yeah. When I found out what profit she made on that piece of property, I would have married her too, Rennie.
Yeah. About a year after we met, we got married. She could see things are likely to improve.
Yeah.
She had no guarantees. I'm just very grateful she stuck with me.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. It's 20 years down the road now, and we talk about how it used to be and how it is.
Exactly. Isn't that awesome? Good for you. All right. So what was the next step in the process? You're talking to the people in my podcast audience that, Rennie,
yeah,
I'll tell you, there are a lot of people 50 years old that are like just wondering what the hell they're going to do.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you are inspiring a lot of people right now. So what's the next step after that? After you sold that property?
Before the next step, let me tell you, it's never too late to get started. That's the bottom line. I don't care if someone is 50, 60, or 70. It's never too late.
Yeah.
And so the next step was, okay, I could see things are doing well with this triplex. I'm not making that much money. I mean, if we get a plumbing bill, it could wipe out our profit.
Right.
However, we could borrow more money. And that's what I did. I borrowed more money to make down payments on more multi-unit properties.
Okay, good. Now, because one of the things is, I mean, we're talking Southern California.
Yeah.
So you're talking Southern California, the cash flow is not as great as, you know, other places.
Yeah.
but you're dealing with a much lower cap rate, which means that the value of the property is growing much faster.
Exactly.
And that's when I teach my class and I talk about the power of the cap rates. That's why when you're dealing with Southern California, you're not looking for the income. You're looking for the power of the cap rate, and that's use that money to roll into something else.
Exactly, and that's what I did. I borrowed money to make more down payments. As the market was increasing, we had purchased a 7-unit property. We borrowed back money. I think I picked up like $100,000 from a refi. So we were continually borrowing money to get money to make more down payments. By the time we hit the 8th year, we'd had 50 properties from the 3 that we started with.
Wow. For 50 units?
Excuse me, 50 units, not 50 properties.
Now, I've got to ask you something, and this is, this goes to your philosophy. Now, remember, you're now in your 50s doing all of these things. You've already been burnt once. You've already gone through that hellhole twice. You've already been burnt twice where, burritos were a luxury. So what is your strategy when you're borrowing money from a perfectly cash flowing property? It's doing all right. There's no problem. You don't have to worry about it. And you're going out to buy another property. What's your strategy towards leverage, being over leveraged and setting yourself up for another bad situation if the market crashes?
The banks prevented us from over leveraging.
Okay, good.
We had to come up with at least 30% to 35% down payments to meet the bank's debt coverage ratios.
Now, that was because, typically it's a smaller property, so you're dealing with smaller banks and very conservative banks.
Yes.
So they're requiring you to put more money down. These aren't like, you're not in the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, 80-20 LTV.
No.
Yeah, okay, so the banks are your best investor.
Exactly. If the property wasn't going to show the numbers, they weren't going to loan the money.
Yeah. Good. So, so let me ask you, the market crashes about 2007, 2008, 2009, things. And even, you're on the coasts take the biggest hit, and they go up the fastest and they drop the fastest, I'll tell you. And so what happened with your portfolio during that time?
By 2008, we'd had 50 units that we owned. They're cash flowing. And if values are dropping, it was completely irrelevant because we had the cash flow.
Okay, but
we weren't trying to refinance at that point.
Okay, but what about the banks having to call the notes or requiring more capital to be put in?
Oh, no, they didn't come back and ask for more money. The loans were what they were, whether they were 7-year due or 5-year due, whatever. You got to realize we started in 2001. We're only 7 years in by 2008. And if we purchased a property in 2005, we're only 3 years into the loan. And if it's a 7-year loan, there's nothing much they can do.
Okay. See, now that is, were those recourse loans, non-recourse loans? Were those?
Actually, I realized a lot of the properties were 4 units or less.
So they're residential
properties, which had 30-year loans.
Exactly. See, that's the
I forgot that.
Yeah. Because the thing is, when you're looking at like some of these, 7 and 10-year terms, there are provisions in those commercial loans that if there's a change in the market, they can make you get an appraisal. And if the value of the property is dropped down so much, the bank can force you to put more money in because the bank examiners require the banks be capitalized to a certain level. Yeah. And listen, we had to write a check for $250,000 on one of our properties.
Yeah. So, the worst that we ever had was on a 5-unit property where we had a commercial loan, and it was a 10-year loan that you could do nothing with, from the standpoint that if interest rates had dropped and we could refinance, except the prepayment penalty was all the interest they would have earned till the 10th year.
Yeah. It's a defeasance penalty.
Yeah.
I know. And listen, listening to you tell this story, makes it seem like the residential size multifamilies are a much safer bet. But keep in mind, everything has its pros and its cons. I mean, you had to put 30% down on all these properties, and so. But that's that's fantastic. But so you slid right through the crash.
Yeah.
Very nicely.
Oh, absolutely. And I realized it was probably around 2007 that we bought our last building. It was from 2006, a tax-deferred exchange. We sold that original 3-unit. We took that profit. We did a 1031 exchange into a 15-unit property in another city not too far away. And we spent $250,000 rehabbing it. And when we got that property, the rents were $5,600 a month, I think. When we finished our remodel, we were at $16,000 a month of income.
Oh man!
Yeah, and so the $250,000 we spent was recouped in 24 months.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were looking for properties that were mismanaged and had deferred maintenance, because that's where we were able to make the money. That's why they had improved so quickly. It wasn't because, we weren't buying the pride of ownership properties.
Yeah.
We were buying stuff that was junky and improving it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one of my best students. That's how he's made his millions, doing exactly that. Yep. And I always joke that I have the bumper sticker on my car that says "Life is too short to own C-class properties." And he always makes fun of me. He's just like, "Why do you say that? That's how I made all my money." I said, "Yeah, that's how you made your money, but I don't have the time. I can't do that. That's not me. That's not me."
Well, hey, you got to consider I'm 50 years of age. Yeah. I'm looking at 15 years down the road, and I've got nothing at age 50 that will allow me to have a decent life at 65. Yeah. I had to take risks. I had to move fast. Yeah. I worked 7 days a week for the 6-7 years that we were doing this.
Yeah.
But hey, I don't have to work another day in my life now.
Exactly. Isn't that beautiful? Good for you, man. That is awesome. That is great. And I tell you, it's being at the stage where you just love what you do, where you get up like I always tell people, I said this I was just on somebody else's podcast, and I tell people that when I'm giving out my talks, I thought I stumbled upon something that was a novel concept. And I said to the crowd, I said, "Do you know what the worst part of my week was?" And it was Sunday night, because I hated to go to work on Monday morning. Sunday night, I dreaded Sunday. And I thought I was being novel. Rennie, you should have seen all the people who were nodding their heads like, "I know what you mean. I know what you mean." It's like, wow.
Well, I remember what that life was like. Now, come Sunday evening, I'm saying, "Oh, Monday's coming. Finally, the weekend is over. I get back to go."
Mine is, I come into my office, because my office is right, in the same town as my place. And I come in, I just like being here. I like being here. It is fun. This is what we call in the office Podcast Wednesday, because I just get to sit here. I get to talk to people like you and just talk about, this is what life should be like.
Yeah,
this is what it was meant to be like, and anybody can do it. Rennie, why are you special? Why couldn't anybody else do what you did?
Well, I'm not special. I was an average student in high school. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did fail math.
Oh, I failed German.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another language. But we have, in this business, who are you going to speak German to? In this business, you got to use numbers, right?
Right.
Yeah. High school math is not a predictor of money.
No. Yeah. Well, I hate it when I tell people that the most important thing you need to understand in the multifamily business is an algebraic equation. The purchase price equals the net operating over the cap rate. That's the algebra. That's all you're going to need to know. You know that, you can figure out everything. And
if you put that in the chat box, I'll copy it, because I don't know that one.
I know exactly. I knew you were going to say that. You're like, I got an email from a student one time. He says, "Charlie, you got to help me out. I don't understand cash on cash return." He goes through the whole thing. I flunked high school. It sounded a lot like you. I flunked high school math. I couldn't do anything. And he says, but I own 16 units, no debt in Southern California. And tell me what I did wrong. I'm like, oh, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. I know everybody that wants to be like you. So,
Yeah.
oh, that's great. That's great. So, yeah, but it's just keeping focused.
Yes.
And
Yeah. This is the simplest understanding I had. I figured if I have, for every unit I have, if I get $1,000 a month rent and eventually it's paid off, I will have $1,000 a month of income down the road. It was that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, less insurance and taxes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And what I ended up understanding later was I don't ever need to pay them off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they could all have loans.
Right.
Because the rents will eventually cover that, my standard of living, everything else, the property's appreciated, the rents continue to increase.
Yep.
And,
I'll tell you.
But that's where I started.
That's the same conversation I had, when you just said about having, paying off the notes. I had the same conversation with a student where he's I'm going to pay off all these debt. I want everything to be debt free. I said, okay, hold on one second. Just understand what debt is and how debt works and how it's good for you and how it's bad for you. I said, I have one personal debt that I am focused on paying off, and I am going after that, and I want that paid off, and then I will have no personal debt. But debt in your business is just a tool of the business.
Yeah.
It's designed to help you build an income stream that can pay off, help you live your lifestyle. And your lifestyle, you shouldn't have debt. You just should not have debt.
Yeah.
So debt on the business side is okay when it's used correctly, but don't bring it into your personal life. That just keeps you up.
The only difference, the only qualm I have with that is if someone is in a place where they've got credit card debt, you do not focus on paying that off before you begin investing.
Okay, you know who says that's not right is Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, maybe your CPA. Guess what? That's not of help, because the reality is if people focus on paying off the debt first, it's only going to come back, and they're going to continue to delay and delay and delay making the investments, and it won't start. Yeah. And I see it over and over again.
I got to tell you, you know, that is so true. That people are always can't get started because I have to take care of this. Because I got to take care of this. Like, I tell you, when you said that you were saving $500 a month systematically all the time, I knew that's the recipe for success.
Yeah, and I had credit card debt.
Yeah.
I had credit card debt.
Yeah.
I couldn't pay it off in full every month.
Yeah.
I mean, I made the minimum payments just to keep, everything from being taken away from me. But it was that $500 a month that I began investing and then putting it into the multi-units, which transformed my life. Because credit cards never transformed my life.
Because think about it. When that opportunity came to you, it's, preparation meets opportunity.
Yes.
When that opportunity presented itself, you needed that $18,000
absolutely
to a $520,000 profit.
Correct.
No other paying off credit card is not going to get you to a $520,000 profit.
No way.
So yeah. Okay. All right. I'll concede that point to you, counselor. Yeah. And I'll step with you. Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, the 520 was the gross profit. My share was only 130.
You pauper you. Yeah. But you were married to the other 130 too. So
that's true.
Don't forget that. Don't believe me. I did the math, pal. I did the math already. I was very good at math in college.
Yeah. I may have failed high school math, but I could add 130.
Yeah. And you did it through addition. I multiplied by 2. So
no, that's too advanced for me.
I'm sorry. That's great. So tell me, what's your situation now? You say you're 20 years later. You said I heard you say you bought your last one like 2007 or
it was about 2007, I think, maybe 2008. That was when we did the property in Burbank. At this point, we've sold off some properties. We've gone into triple net leases.
Okay.
We've done limited partnerships with developers. We created enough money where we have it in multiple areas. And we're down to about 27 units now.
Okay.
And it allows me to do something constructive, like swap out a garbage disposal or oversee a plumber or,
it gets you out of the house.
Yeah, exactly. I had a tenant who called me, said there was a lizard in her apartment and she was freaked out. And so I went over there and I watched on YouTube how you make a lizard trap from an 11-year-old boy.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that great?
Yeah. So this 11-year-old boy is teaching me how to make a lizard trap. I do it. I head over to the property. I have another tenant help me catch the lizard. And I'm successful today.
And I love some little kid. I just helped a millionaire catch a lizard and I didn't make a dime off my video.
yeah, exactly. My wife has this great joke. A tenant will call me and say, my toilet's not flushing properly. And, so I'll go over and check it out. And I tell my wife, well, someone's having a problem with the toilet. She goes, ooh, it's a big day for Rennie.
Oh, that sounds like what my wife would say. Absolutely. Oh, that's so great. That is so great. So, man, okay. Now, what about you? I noticed on your resume you were an instructor or a teacher at UCLA for real estate. Tell me about that. That's so cool.
I've been teaching a course based on an award-winning best-selling book I had called Wealth on Any Income. It's all this stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And UCLA, I think I said, I'd like to teach something else at UCLA. So I said, I'd like to teach a class on how to buy and manage apartment buildings for profit. And they said, that's a great title. Yes, do that. So I designed a course and I teach it like one Saturday, a few times a year. And it's a 6-hour class. Yeah. And I get realtors or the general public or whatever to show up and take that class. And I teach them how to buy real estate and how to manage it profitably.
Rennie, you sound like me. You sound like what I do.
Well, okay. You know the expression, those who can do and those who can teach.
Okay, but
here's the real expression. Those who have done it have an obligation to teach.
Oh, that's kind of the way I feel. Especially I don't want to see anybody make the mistakes that I made.
Yeah.
And believe me, I made them all, and I don't want to see anybody else do it. And that's why I love what I do. I get paid very well to do it. It is not work for me. It is a life, a mission. And I could not agree with you more. That's the way. But Rennie, I don't know if you know the true expression or the true saying. Those who can do, those who can't teach. Those who can't teach Jim, and those who can't teach Jim teach teachers.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, because I taught Jim when I got out of college.
Yeah. You see? It all comes right back in line. That's so funny. I had another guy, a student of mine from Pennsylvania. This guy was a clever guy, and he taught Jim. But he also bought a gym. And he ran that gym. That paid him a nice stream of income. And then the guy owned like 19 units, and he's a teacher. And I said, "When are you going to quit being a teacher?" He goes, "Why? It's easy money, and they pay me my health insurance, and he keeps everything else going. And he's just waiting until he hits that retirement age, and the guy's going to be all set. And it's all the income property and his businesses. It's unbelievable. That's the way you need to think about these things. Absolutely. So." Rennie, I can't believe that was the fastest half hour in multifamily podcast ever. That was a blast, man. It's so good to see you. And listen, I'm coming out to Southern California. I want to get together with you when we're out there. Meet your lovely bride, and I'll take you guys out for dinner. We'll have a good time.
I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. When you come into town, we treat you to dinner.
Okay, all right, fine.
Okay,
hey.
Thank you.
Can I bring the whole class? Come on.
Yeah, they can pay, and I'll treat you.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to take me to the China buffet or something. I know you are all you can eat. So, all right, man. Hey, great. Thank you so much. And listen, we can learn about your business in your book, wealthonanyincome.com, and that's where we can track you down, find out more about Rennie Gabriel, and you are like you said, we do this now to help other people, so people can find you on your website, and if they want to chat with you and ask you questions, and obviously, I can tell you, your story is an encouraging one for so many people who are in this situation. I see it all the time everywhere I go. And listen, this is going to be one of my most favorite podcasts out there, because it's a great story, and I so appreciate you coming on. So thank you, Rennie.
Charles, thank you for the invitation. It was fun. I love getting together and chatting with you, and I look forward to when you're in LA.
Oh, I appreciate it. All right, man. I will see you soon.
Okay.
Talk to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.